One, two, three. We want to welcome everybody to My Dad Talks, where our favorite two people are mom and dad. Okay, and Hanty, they're not here, but we have CJ. What's up, Carlin? Good to see you.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? What's
Good
up?
to be seen.
Yeah,
Good to be seen and not viewed.
I know. We're gonna have a hot one in about a couple weeks. We're gonna bring Carlin back on here again, folks, because we're gonna talk about something that needs to be talked about. Because we bring the heat. But today, why are families beefing, Carlin? Why are families beefing? This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? We know there's always going to be family, conflict. It's surging across the U.S. right now. And there's a lot of drama. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is this. What's the number one reason why families beef today, CJ?
Probably money.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like marriage. The top two reasons why people get divorced are marriage and infidelity. I mean, money and infidelity. Obviously, on the family part of it, the infidelity part of it is not going to rank up there because we're talking about multiple people. But I think money is a big thing. I have man, I got to be careful not to give too many details, but just give you some hypotheticals. For instance, I have friends from all type of backgrounds. I have a really good friend who's been a friend for about the last 12 years. And he's an entrepreneur. And since COVID, just has not been able to find his footing financially. And, his parents have been helping him out. And when I say parents, again, I'm a mid-50s man.
Yeah.
So this person he's a grown man with a family.
Yes.
And the entrepreneur lifestyle just is not working for him. And he did not take the traditional path. So I don't think he has built a career that he could go back to be a dental hygienist or, a fireman or whatever established career path. And it's just been tough sledding for him. Well, his sister is more established. She has a more traditional type of career. And, they're beefing because she's like, you're taking all of mom and dad's money and they should be retired by now and blah, 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 blah. And it's, that's a thing. Yeah. And I'm not going to land on one side or the other to say who I think is right or wrong, but that the at the core of it is finances. And I've got friends and even family members, man, who look at you a certain way if you make a certain amount of money and go, you should be helping me, because we're family, quote unquote. And I just think that's at the core of a lot of beef. And it's not even about even exchange of money. Sometimes it's even jealousy. Yeah. I've observed families here where I live where one sibling married pretty well and then another sibling, has had to scrape and scrap for everything they had. And when Christmas time comes and they're giving out gifts, you always want to give out expensive gifts because you want to show how much money you make. Okay. But I can only give one gift per person and you're insensitive and blah, blah, blah. And it just, I really think that that's a lot of it.
It's a great point that you bring out there because, when I think back about it, that is a lot of it. I mean, because it's how money's handled, how money's exchanged, and how people just, for whatever reason, they handle money differently. And so the responsible and irresponsible start colliding a lot of times. And sometimes sometimes life just be life. You know what I'm saying? But still it causes problems. And it's how you view it, right? So the other thing too, what's up with the millennials and Gen Z versus boomers? Who's causing the most chaos in your opinion? We got a lot of people right now living with their parents. It's not their fault. It's just the economy's bad.
Yeah, I do think there's something to the generations, and it's all about how you were raised. Our you and I come from the same generation. Our parents raised us that, like, for a fact that you could go back home if you absolutely had to, and you have. I'm not trying to tell your business, but you've launched out and then you've come back and done a reset. I have too. You know what I mean? I launched out and it wasn't that I failed at anything. It's just when I was young, 24 or 25 years old, didn't work out for me in Texas. Came back, stayed with my folks for about 9 months. moved to Nashville, never looked back. I
Yeah.
mean, I think you did something similar, right?
Hmm.
Came back from Texas. Something about Texas, right?
Yeah, yeah. Something about the
Stayed for
water.
stayed for a little while, moved to Omaha, launched out, never looked back.
Hmm.
I do think that our parents raised us though to go, as much as I love you, as much as it is my job to make sure that you are prepared to be self-sustained. Not because I won't help you for
Hmm.
the rest of your life, is because you can't help your family
Yeah.
by being dependent upon me.
Hmm.
And I think, man, millennials ain't gonna like this. A lot of what I've seen from the millennial generation is that
Hmm.
they are brilliant. They're smarter than our generation, Todd. I'm just gonna say that. They are. Most of them are perfectionists.
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of millennial perfectionists, and therefore I've seen a lot of burnout.
Hmm.
And because they burn out, there's these crashes, these epic crashes. Like they get all these awards,
Hmm.
achieve all these things in their careers, and then boom, there's some sort of crash. And because of that, I think that causes a rub. I get along with millennials,
Hmm.
but I have to do a lot of coming off my square in order to do it. You know what I mean?
You know,
And I know a lot of people my age don't come off their square,
hmm.
and they end up talking bad about millennials. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
therefore, then there's beef,
Yeah.
right? Boomers, that's our parents' generation. Um, I think they're at the point where they go, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why he doesn't have a job. I don't understand why she doesn't have a husband. I don't
Hmm.
understand why they don't go to church on Saturday.
Hmm.
I don't understand. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that tempers how they treat people
Yeah.
from those other generations,
And let's
right?
be real, that also affects the church life, folk, the church dynamic. Because when you look at all these different generations, I mean, boomers, they're about one step away from the grave, but they're the majority of the people in church. Then you look at our generation, kind of kind of involved. Then you get the millennials, church is just not their thing. And Gen Z, we still don't know, jury's still out on that group. You know what I'm saying? But, I think what we're seeing here is a fact that we're seeing a lack of understanding and love. You know what I'm saying? I think that because when you try to understand, you can love, right? Because you want not trying to demean somebody, but when you really love somebody, you're trying to understand where they're coming to help them, right? I mean, if I was going into a foreign country, didn't know anybody, I would try to get an understanding of that culture first. And this is one of the problems that you have, even with white and black. They don't understand the culture. They want to look down on the culture and they want to make a judgment call and say, you ought to be doing this. Well, you don't understand something that, hey, I can't just go into an interview and get a job like that because my color, there's already stigma when I walk in the interview. So if my tie is a different color or something's not right, it turns them off and they categorize me. And for my friends, white friends who know me, Todd, you're not like that. But from the people who don't know me, they're going to say I'm just like that. But Carlin, what are your thoughts?
Todd, I think you make a very, very valid point. And let's use the white black thing to catapult us back into a
Mm-hmm.
broader
Mm-hmm.
scope. I've told people several times, several of my white counterparts, friends, loved ones. When I say loved ones, I have white folks that are closer to me than a lot of my black family.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be keep it real with you.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell them, I said, and they go, I don't see color. I don't see you as a black person. To me, that's an insult.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, I want you to love me for being a black man,
Mm-hmm.
which means you're gonna have to accept that I'm black. And I'm telling you, you're safe
Yeah.
by acknowledging that I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you acknowledge that I'm black, you also acknowledge the struggle that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying I'm struggling because then that turns off a lot of people that are like, oh, well, you live in a nice house and you drive a nice car and your kids go to private school and blah blah blah. What are you struggling about? And I'm like, yeah, has a cop ever followed you for 2 miles and on his radio when you haven't done anything? Have you ever been had the police called on you in your own neighborhood for walking with a hoodie outside in the dark because you were exercising, but they thought that you were a criminal because you're the only black person in the neighborhood, right? And they didn't know it was you, right? So there are unique things that I go through
Mm-hmm.
that are part of my experience that if you accept me for me, then you understand what I'm and instead of judging me,
Yeah.
you go, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Carlin's black. You know what I mean? He's got a little different experience than I do. And we can come to the table. Now, what that means is when we're told to love our neighbor as ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
when you accept people for who they are, not necessarily accept what they do, but accept them for who they
Yeah.
are, fundamentally who they
Mm-hmm.
are, then you lower the temperature when it comes to beef.
Yeah.
And when a lot of times, what we don't do in our families is we don't accept people for who they are. Todd, you and I got some crazy cousins. Okay,
So
let's be real, all right? and
yeah,
and our
you think
cousins
we're
might think we're
crazy.
crazy, and you know what? They're probably right. You know what I'm saying? But what we have to love each other for who we are. Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say his name, and I hope to send the link to him. Okay, Todd, you and I have a cousin named Richard in California.
Mm.
Richard is Richard,
Yes.
right?
Love them.
But
That's
but there's nobody on the Lawrence side of our family that loves our family more than cousin Richard.
yes.
I
Yeah.
will put I will
Yes.
go to my grave saying that. He's at every family reunion.
Yes.
He's at remembers everybody's birthday,
Yeah.
everybody's graduations. So my son Dalen recently graduated, and he sent him a check for his graduation. Right when we opened it up, it was like national treasure. It
Mm-hmm.
was a riddle. He wrote it for a specific amount,
Mm.
and that amount was a little bit larger than what typically people were donating and
Yeah.
giving.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, so I texted him, and then we figured it out. It was Dalen's birthday. The digits were Dalen's birthday.
Ah.
Now, I could have been like, man, Richard is off, right?
Uh-huh.
Like
Hmm.
Richard is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love Richard, not
Yes.
because he gave that, but I
Yeah.
mean, I just love Richard because he's Richard,
Mm-hmm.
and he added to our lives, not financially, but when we realized he actually took the time to sit down and think
Yeah.
through almost like a riddle, and to use his own finances to engage us.
Yeah.
Had I not accepted Richard for who Richard is, he
Mm-hmm.
may have never even sent that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And we've got to get to the point, in my opinion, we've got to get to the point. I think the baseline is we've stopped accepting people for who they are. We've stopped doing that.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's hard to love somebody if you don't accept who they are.
And folk, I love you even if you don't like me.
Mm.
See, this
Sounds
is
like black people in America.
I know.
Patriotism.
Yeah, you know, and I have to deal with it every day. You know what I'm saying? The hatred. Oh, I want to do something. You can tell with the eyes and stuff like that. And the reality is these people claim to be Christian, but you know what? We all have flaws, folks. That's not Christian behavior. You're not even supposed to have that. You're supposed to give someone the opportunity to show who they are instead of making a predetermined decision because you're trying to protect yourself. And we know there's sin around. That's why the love of many is waxing colder and colder every day. Let's just be real. It's because it's a protective layer, because sin, because guess what? If the Christians really love like that, the world would be a whole lot different. But we got a lot of people using his name in vain, calling themselves Christians only when it's convenient. See, you got to be Christian 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're not perfect beings, folks. None of us are. We're not saying we are. We're not saying anybody is. Christ was the only one that's perfect. But the real question is, you know what? Before you implode, why don't you explore? Be curious. You know what I'm saying? Sincerely be curious of trying to think about it. When God knew everything about the woman at the well, everything,
Mm.
all her bitness. I said bitness. I didn't say business. Her bitness, right? That's why she came at the noonday, because she didn't want people talking about it. Like nobody comes out here in this hot world. And Christ was sitting there waiting for, like, I was expecting. And he, you know, like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, what are you doing here? I want some water. Well, the Jews don't, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, you're different. And folk, isn't it refreshing when you have someone different that just loves you despite yourself? When are we going to see more of them people?
Todd, I will be transparent in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
80% of the time, I'm wrong about people.
Mm.
It's a rough estimate. 80% of the time, if I actually get to know somebody, I'm
Mm-hmm.
usually wrong about them. And that's both positive and negative.
Yeah.
Sometimes I give folks too much a benefit of the doubt, and I find out what they really are, and I'm like, man, I was wrong
Mm-hmm.
about them. And a lot of times I'll go. I think I know what they are. I think I know who they are. And then when I really give them a chance and just accept them for who they are, I'll go, I was wrong
Yeah.
about who that person is. And I think that's the only true way that you can get to a point of who your friends and family are,
Hmm.
who they are for real,
Yeah.
is you have to take the moment to allow them to be themselves. And
And
if you do that, you will have a better baseline to work from. Now, you don't have to hang out with everybody. You don't even have to like everybody.
hmm
But you do have to, you are commanded to love everybody. And by the way, when you start doing some of the research in the Hebrew and Greek and before the Bible's translated into English, the love is more talking about like respect. So
yes.
we get that twisted around. So a lot of Christians like, and I'll say it out here. I know y'all think we're racial on here, so let's go ahead and say it. A lot of Christian nationalists will get out there and be, man, I gotta love him. I gotta love the gay guy. I gotta love the immigrant. I gotta love, they hate so many people, right? They gotta love. No, actually, you just gotta respect them.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if you respect them, you won't treat them the way that you treat them,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to accept your lifestyle. I don't have to accept it. I do have to accept that you are a child of God created in his image. So there's a part of him that I don't understand
hmm
that is you're embodying at the
hmm
moment. And I don't have to make that a part. I don't have to make that a part of my daily
hmm
family. I don't have to believe the way you believe. I don't have to eat the way you eat. I don't have to go where you go. But I do have to respect because when you respect people, you treat them differently. And that don't even mean I have to like you.
hmm I mean, folks, that's a powerful point, Carl, in that respect. I mean, I love how you put that together, respect. And folks, when we get to the point of respecting one another, we're yelling at each other, we're categorizing. And see, one of the things, I know we got to bring it up to an end at some point. There's a powerful conversation. The moment you demonize somebody, it makes it easy for you to kill them, whether it's verbally or physically. You're just 1 second off of doing something you're saying, why did I do that? Without it. No, you weren't. You prepared yourself to enact on it with the right circumstances. I didn't know what I was. You knew exactly what you were thinking. You were preparing yourself because you're waiting for the right moment, the right time to pull the trigger, to say something unkind, because you're training your body to respond to that rather than love that and respect that. And I love how you put that together. When you respect all people, you do your best to say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to respect everything about you. Let's have a respectful conversation. But, like I said, when you're predetermined and you have a condescending attitude, it actually evokes certain things into somebody. You know what I'm saying? And I know this. A lot of people say, Todd, you're arrogant. No, I'm just confident. There's a difference between the two, folks. Arrogance is I think I can do it. Confidence, I will do it and I can do it. There's a difference between the two. Because think about it. Michael Jordan wasn't arrogant. He's like, I'm Michael Jordan. I will score 50 points on you. Larry Bird, I'm going to drop 50 on you. Sorry about it tonight, bro, but this is just not your night tonight, right? It's not arrogance. It's the fact that you're able to do it. And there's a difference between, because you got a lot of people who wish they could do it and they get jealous of you because you can. They get jealous of your swag or Carlin, how you're able to talk and communicate. And instead of trying to learn and grow, I mean, I love to be in the room with smarter people than me. Love it. You know why? Because I can learn
Absolutely.
something.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be the smart. If you're the smartest one in the room all the time, change your room. It's gonna get your IQ is gonna start going down. But
Y'all
Carlin,
don't want me to be y'all don't want me to be the smartest one in the room. I'm saying that right now. So,
I like this.
some things just won't get done. Some things just won't get done.
Yeah, I was like, folks, I got it, because you know what? When you can walk together, folk, and still disagree, but still understand. Think about the disciples. They did not really. I mean, think about it. Them dudes were fighting when Jesus was about ready to die, folk. Who was going to be the greatest in the kingdom because they wanted to be better than somebody else, folk. Don't worry about being better than somebody else. Be the best you can be. Be the best human being you can be. And folk, watch the world change much different because you start caring about people. I saw a person struggling today. All I had was $1. And some people say, Todd, why did you give that dude $1? And that's all you had. I said, because this man, that dollar's going to make his day. Even if he uses it right, it's not my business. The fact of it is, he has the opportunity to be better. And I did something about it. Well, Carl, any final thoughts before we close?
Yeah, I'm shocked that you only had $1 on you. I know how much you make. So Give that man a $5 bill, Todd. That was me. Stop being
Oh,
cheap.
God. Yeah.
Nah, man, bro, that's powerful. Like you gave him the opportunity to be better.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're all gonna fail each other at some point in time. I love that, Todd. I'm gonna start using that, and especially in the America where we are so divided or whatever. I'm literally gonna give somebody the opportunity to be better. They may not. They may not. But remember what I said.
Yeah.
I'm usually wrong about people. Well, when I say that about who they really are.
Yeah.
So they're either going to be worse than what I thought, or they're going to be better than what I thought.
I
But
got
at the end of the day, we're not called to change anybody. We're called to love, which
yeah.
means to respect. We're called to respect
Yeah.
everybody for their basic human being, right? Human beingness, right? Humanity.
Mhm.
And I think that will cut down on the beef in families if we start respecting each other a little bit more.
So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today. Like, subscribe, and if you don't like it, just I would love to hear from your comments and stuff like that. You know, the opportunity to grow. You know, not everybody's going to like what's being said tonight. Some people are going to like. Hopefully, some people change, right? But you know, it's good to get your perspective so I can have a understanding. The Bible says, "In all that getting, get an understanding." All right, folks. Till next time, we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talks. Bye, everyone. Uh-oh, we're having a problem right now. Bye, everyone. Now we can say bye. Bye.